Welcome to the Joe Cohen Show. Join me as I share my experience with biohacking and invite top health experts to explore the latest technology, supplements, research, and resources for optimizing your body and brain. Hey everyone, today we're going to be talking about Plantarum. The last time that I did a probiotic podcast, people were asking me, wait, what brand did you recommend? So the other one I did was Bloating. And the brand I recommended it's not a brand, but it's a specific strain. It's VB536. Any brand that sells that strain is fine. And I also mentioned that if you're on SelfDecode, you could connect with me and you'll be able to see all of my protocols for each supplement. So that's something you basically, if you're a member on SelfDecode, you could just share it with a practitioner. My email is jcohen@selfhacked with an ed at the end.com. And then that's my practitioner username. And then you'll be able to see all of my protocols for every supplement once you add something in an action plan. Okay, so anyway, today we're going to be talking about Plantarum. So people want to know which brand I recommend. Again, it's not the specific brand. It's more of the quantity plus the 299V is the specific species. So this is 299V. I get this one. It's 10 billion, which seems like it's around the amount that you need. And the reason why this is one of my favorite ones, so I've tried every single specific species or specific strain that I could get my hands on in the market of every probiotic. Everything that I could get my hands on, I've tried. And I found that there was a handful that really worked well for gas. And the reason why I have gas is because I take a lot of supplements and some of them I know cause gas and I just decide to take them anyway. So some of the things you do, for example, if I take a lot of vitamin C, especially liposomal, I'll get gas from it. But if I take a lot of probiotics with these things, so no matter how much I stress my gut in terms of things that create gas, also if I take too many amino acids, that can create gas sometimes. There's like a whole bunch of things, different supplements that I could take that I know cause gas. And I just decide that, hey, I want to take them anyway. If I get a little gas, it's not the end of the world. But also I know how to counteract them, right? So that's what's the most important, is that if I could never counteract them, then it might be problematic over the long run. But because I know how to counteract them, I think it's okay. I spoke about L. rhamnosus and the species, the specific strain that I like is GG. B. longum, BB536. That's the specific strain that I like. And each strain can have a different effect, by the way. So you got to get the right strain. And then this time, Plantarum, and that's 299V. And that's something that I've been taking for over 2 years now, multiple years, maybe 3, 4 years. So I've been taking it for a while as its own, right? So sometimes I'll take it and there's some other probiotics, multi-species probiotics that contains it. But I also like to take my favorite ones alone so that I get extra ones of those species. And what I find is, number one is if I take in too much sulfur, I find that my gas could smell. And that sulfur could be in amino acids. It would only smell really if I eat certain sulfur foods or take in too much sulfur. So that could be, for example, if I eat 6 eggs, I could get it's too much sulfur at a time for my bacteria to digest. And then it could be an overgrowth of sulfur producing bacteria, and that could cause smelly gas. Now, if I take this Plantarum, that doesn't happen. If I take the B. longum, doesn't happen. And same, the L. rhamnosus does also mitigate the effects. But I would say Plantarum definitely and B. longum are very reliable. They reliably work. Again, I use the Jarrow one. The reason I know when these things work, and this is one of the mistakes that people make when they're taking probiotics, is that they're not taking enough. So usually the dose that's given might be okay for some people, but for me, I find that I need more. And especially when I megadose, you could feel the effects more strongly. So in this case, I've got 6 pills here. And what I'll do is I'll take 6 of these pills maybe 3 times a day if I want to megadose. So I just swallowed 6 of the pills, and I'll notice a big difference from that. If I take 1 pill a day, I might not notice. But if I'm taking it over, just if it's in my regimen, I'll probably take twice a day, once in the morning, once in the evening, and then also combine it with the other probiotics that I like. I'm actually thinking about stopping multi-species probiotics in general and just taking specific strains that I really like, because I find that the specific strains really do a lot of good stuff. And the ones with many strains, which is the typical probiotic, they can have unpredictable effects. And I was doing that to see if maybe I can notice any kind of positive effects over time, but I don't think I do. I think really the ones that there is an 80-20 law in probiotics where you're going to get 80% of the benefits from some of the main species, and you really have to find which ones work for you. This one works for me very well. Now, I'm going to go through some of the benefits here, and we could see what it's used for in the research. Again, for me in particular, I could tell you what I've noticed. I'm mainly taking this for reduce gas and reduce any kind of smell from gas. Okay, now we're going to go through some of the benefits for Plantarum. So right now I'm on SelfDecode. And because I shared, this is my personal account, because I shared it with my practitioner account, you could see the recommendation notes. So Joe recommends take 10 billion Plantarum, and it makes a difference which Plantarum is taken. And I put in here and I put in the links. So that's the basic information. It says this recommendation works better for your general health than the average user. It's able to tell that based on genetics and symptoms, conditions, goals. So these are symptoms and conditions that I had in the past. Again, if I'm doing what I need to do, then I don't have any of these issues anymore. Same with the goals, same with the DNA risks. If you don't take the proper action, then you could have increased risk for all these things. But if you know what you're at increased risk for, then you can work on preventing it. Symptoms and conditions. It's good for bloating, flatulence or gas, food allergies, and mood. Now, I've noticed definitely bloating, definitely gas, food allergies. Let's see what the evidence here is for food allergies. It's very hard to try it out for food allergies on its own because usually I was doing a lot of things together. What I could say is probiotics overall definitely help with food allergies. So what does it do? It aids in managing food allergies and sensitivities through its production of indole-3 lactic acid, a metabolite derived from tryptophan. Okay, so that's actually a very important pathway in reducing food allergies. What that means is when you consume tryptophan, it has all these metabolites or breakdown products. Your gut breaks down tryptophan actually, and it breaks down into these anti-inflammatory molecules, in this case, indole-3 lactic acid, and this creates tolerance to other foods. So this can reduce hyperactive immune responses that underlie food allergies and food sensitivities. In a placebo-controlled trial with 61 children with cow's milk allergy, adding heat-killed Plantarum to oral immunotherapy further improved tolerance to cow's milk and the gut microbiota. Okay, so what we see is that this is actually improving allergies. Now, I've been able to improve my allergies tremendously, over 90%, my food allergies and sensitivities. And I was taking this. It's just hard to know if this was the specific probiotic that helped a lot or if it was other things. My guess is because of how much it helps me, I could see this helping. Mood, I would say overall that I think it did help my mood, but let me see what the evidence here is for the mood. It's hard to say specifically. Oh, they're using a very specific strain here. Oh, they use this one, LP299V. So PS128 I've also tried. In a placebo-controlled trial of 11 patients with major depressive disorders, this is in depression, 8 weeks, improved depression and somatic symptoms. And then the Plantarum 299V taken as an add-on to an antidepressant drug also improved cognitive function and decreased kynurenine levels in people with major depressive disorder. So they're also looking at people with insomnia and supplementation with PS128 for 30 days, improved depressive symptoms. Oh, interesting. The combination of Plantarum Heal 9. I've taken this species as well, by the way. They're sold as different strains. The species is Plantarum, but the strains could be different. There's PS128, Heal 9, LP299V, and they all have slightly different effects. I find the 299V to be the best for overall. That's just my favorite Plantarum strain. There's many more Plantarum strains. But anyway, when they took these two together, it improved depressive symptoms in 90 people with mild to moderate depression. So again, if you don't have depression, it might be difficult to see this, but it seems like it has some mood improving effects. Now, it's helping also my goals. It helps exercise recovery, immunity, mood, muscle growth, and stamina. These are some of the goals that I have. Now let's look at some of my DNA risks that this helps with. It helps with flu, food allergies. So we discussed the food allergies, the flu. Let's see how it helps with the flu. Consuming a probiotic strain. I've actually tried these two strains. So these are a bit different strains, CECT 7315 and 7316. During 3 months after getting the flu shot may boost immunity. So probiotic mixes with L-Plantarum may reduce the incidence and severity of the flu. So when it's used in combination or used on its own, it seems to strengthen the immune system. I can't say that I've noticed anything there. In terms of artery hardening, so this is good for cardiovascular disease. It helps prevent cardiovascular disease. Let's see what kind of study did they do for that? Oh, they're looking at vascular endothelial function and decreased systemic inflammation. So in a placebo-controlled trial, 20 men, basically it's decreasing inflammation and improving vascular function. And they use 20 billion per day here for 6 weeks. So it's interesting to see that this improves vascular function. And in terms of cognitive decline, it helps with that. It reduces memory complaints in older people. So consuming soybean paste fermented with L-Plantarum C29 may improve attention and other aspects of cognition in people with mild cognitive decline. That's very interesting. In my notes, I wrote that it does improve cognitive function, it seems, maybe mildly, when I was doing these experiments. So I do them when I'm taking my full regimen. And I was also doing these experiments when I was just doing this alone. So when you're doing this alone, you could see more clearly what the effect is having. But I also like to do both experiments, one where I'm taking my full regimen of 160 supplements a day or more. And then I'm also trying to figure out, okay, when I don't take anything, how do I feel from this? You could see here's the risks, the DNA risks. And acne, I wonder, I used to have acne. I don't have acne anymore. And I bet that's from the probiotics, because what I noticed is ever since I started increasing the probiotics, I don't get acne really. And that's despite me putting on moisturizers, which moisturizers usually just cause acne right away for me. So despite putting on moisturizers, I've been pretty resistant to acne, which is quite interesting now that I think about it. And I think that was since I really upped the probiotic game. Taking probiotics, I think, is quite important for acne. I can't say I can pinpoint this one, but it seems like the clinical trials show that it is good for acne. Yeast infection. Now, this is interesting. It helps with balance the bacteria and yeast in the body. So vulvovaginal candidiasis, that's what they tested it on, improves vaginal colonization of lactic acid bacteria, potentially helping to improve candida. So this can help prevent candida. And actually, I think that sometimes you could smell that somebody has candida if they are burping and it has this certain kind of smell to it, if you will. At one point, I may have had that. I don't have that for a while. But basically, probiotics is probably the best thing to get rid of that. Bloating, I could attest to. IBS, definitely. Diarrhea, hard to know. I don't have diarrhea. Flatulence, yes, definitely. Gas. Homocysteine, so it supposedly brings down homocysteine. And let's see how it does this. So probiotic strain, so this is a multi-strain. This one has 2 strains. It lowered homocysteine in healthy volunteers and people with IBS. That's very interesting. I am predisposed to higher homocysteine. A lot of tests that I do have higher homocysteine, and that's something that is interesting to me. Let's look at some of the lab markers that it helps with. Helps lower IgE, glucose, fasting glucose. So I think that the reason why my fasting glucose was higher had to do with a microbiome change. And I think that these probiotics, if I take them in the right dosages, I think it helps with my fasting glucose. The IgE, this was from a parasitic infection. It went up, but I haven't checked it in 6 months or more. And then it helps with things like LDL particle number, ApoB, LDL cholesterol. I can't say I noticed a difference here or I've tested it out strongly, but it helps with hemoglobin A1C. Let's see how much. Okay, so in a placebo-controlled trial, I actually tried this specific strain, HAC01, for 8 weeks. It lowered postprandial glucose, that's glucose spikes after a meal, and HbA1c, similarly consuming yogurt with heat-treated L-Plantarum For 12 weeks, reduced HbA1c and fasting glucose. Doesn't say by how much here. Yeah, it's not clear how much it's doing it, but it seems like the impact is 2, evidence is 2. So it seems like it does help with that. And it seems like it helps with kidney markers as well. There's clinical trials here as well. Okay, now let's look at some of the other things that I don't have a DNA risk for, but it could help with. So respiratory infections, stress, anxiety, cardiovascular disease. So it's helping with all different kinds of mood issues. It's helping with anemia. Never had a problem there. Burns, interesting enough. So it seems like the microbiome could definitely help with burns and wound healing. High blood pressure, that's probably through the vascular effect. Type 2 diabetes, that's through the blood sugar. LDL cholesterol, we spoke about. Insomnia, so there was that study that showed that it could help with insomnia. So this is something that could help with sleep as well. Allergies, we spoke about. Eczema, I think a lot of eczema, almost all of it is related to food sensitivities. So the fact that it could help with this is not surprising because it's reducing the food sensitivities. It's helping balance the immune system. I personally think that if you have any of these issues, you definitely need to take Plantarum. And this is something that is pretty critical, pretty core part of my program here. I've got a variant here, which makes me do better with Plantarum for eczema, which is interesting. So it decreased the symptoms, increasing interleukin 10 levels. It basically causes a bunch of changes in the immune system to create more tolerance to your skin, yourself, essentially, right? It's your body's attacking your own skin when you're getting eczema. And I think a lot of that has to do with diet. What I'm clicking on here is to see why Plantarum might help lower my blood sugar even more than normal. So it says that these HLA genes are correlated with higher blood sugar levels due to increased HLA activity. So by improving the immune system, it seems like it could reduce issues. Improving VO2 max, that is something that's very interesting. Helps with facial wrinkles. So in general, it's helping with skin. So skin elasticity, skin hydration, facial wrinkles. Let's see how this helps with facial wrinkles. So it improves skin density, hydration, firmness, elasticity, while decreasing water loss. How does it do this? Increase skin elasticity. So it increases the body's production of collagen, a key component of skin elasticity. So through increasing collagen, it seems like it does a lot of skin benefits. It provides a lot of skin benefits. And it seems like also it's doing a lot of things for exercise. So it helps with aerobic capacity, exercise recovery, muscle recovery, endurance, muscle mass. We spoke about the postprandial glucose. Neurodivergence is something that this specific species helps with. So this PS128, this was a trial done in kids with autism. And what they found was it reduced the SNAP-4 scores in younger children compared to placebo, which is interesting because usually very few things help with autism. It helps with immune function. In general, a lot of probiotics help with immune function, although I can't say that I've noticed a huge effect with that. So that's the general gist is Plantarum is helping with metabolic effects, blood glucose. It's helping with the immune system, helping with cholesterol, helping with the cardiovascular system, helping with the immune system, helping your gut, helping your skin, helping cognition and mood and food allergies, which I think causes a lot of other issues, and just overall brain health in general. It also helps with overweight. So there's 2 trials with 90 overweight people and a reduced BMI and waist circumference. By changing the healthy gut bacteria, this may impact how your body stores fat and regulates weight. So we could see that through this gut change, this one bacteria, it can have quite a lot of effects on a whole bunch of different areas in the body, and that's why I'm a big fan of this species. If you want to find out more about how Plantarum can help your specific goals, DNA risks, or symptoms and conditions, I recommend you sign up for SelfDecode, get a DNA test, and then it'll tell you what specifically it's helping you with. So for me, it actually comes up as number 16. So out of every recommendation in the whole system, right, this even includes diet, exercise, pretty much everything. This is number 16, which means that this is the 16th most important thing I could do. And usually a lot of the first 16 are lifestyle related. So if I just, let's say, filter by supplements, let's see what it would come out to be. So filter by supplements, it's number 9. So actually it's the most important probiotic I can take, the most important individual species that I can take. And I'll show you If you're looking at a screen, you could see my screen as well here. I'm at recommendations, filtered supplement, and Plantarum here. And one last thing that I wanted to tell you. So that's number 9. So the higher it is, the more important it is for you. But the way to connect, by the way, is connect with your professional and then put in an email address. So my email address is jcohen@selfhack.com. And you just press I agree to grant access to my account. And when you do that and you add something to, basically you go to the recommendations, you add something, you're going to get all of my notes like you see here. So you'll be able to get all the links and all the protocols. So that's something that could be interesting for you. All right. Hope you enjoyed. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Thank you. Have a great day. 67% of listeners aren't subscribed to the show, so please don't forget to show your support by hitting the subscribe button now. You'll not only be supporting the show, but also investing in yourself and your health journey, all while helping to keep us ad-free.